Are you ready to get your health back but feel overwhelmed by the endless healthcare options? We believe God has called each of us to a specific assignment, and we want to make sure your body, mind, and heart are up for the task. It's time to simplify the process of healing. At Cornerstone Integrative Healing, we offer simple, effective, easy ways to prioritize your health and gain understanding. No prescription pad needed. I'm Kari, a pharmacist turned integrative health practitioner. I'm so excited to have these conversations around topics with my friend, Jenn.
Hi there, I'm Jenn, and together with our team at Cornerstone Integrative Healing, we offer an alternative to traditional healthcare, combining our expertise and experience in the medical field with our knowledge and faith to break the cycles of guessing what's wrong. We know the road to healing, feeling good again, can be overwhelming. You can expect honest conversations around the ups and downs of healing. The truth is, there are so many layers to healing. Because we've taken the time to learn where true healing comes from, we've learned how to help other women discover a different way of caring for themselves. Join us every week for new episodes as we discuss topics that are personal and pertinent to your healing journey.
Welcome back into the Cornerstone Integrative Healing Podcast. I'm Kari here with my co-host Jenn, and we are continuing our series all about going from hindrances to healing. And these are just walking through the ways that we work with clients and sort of just chatting about them so that you can sort of come behind the curtain and see how the Lord has guided us in helping the clients that we work with. And we just got finished talking in the last few episodes about some testing that we do. And so we wanted in this episode to more so focus on how we use supplements, because it definitely is a question that I've received often, because I do believe that there are so many people in this industry that just give tons and tons of supplements with unending timelines, and it's not really a fix to the problem. And so people really get frustrated with the amount of money they're spending on supplements and the lack of results. And so we just kind of wanted to speak to that and just our thoughts on supplements and share those with you guys today.
Yeah. So, I know it's kind of confusing because there's so many brands and, herbals, homeopathics, nutritionals. And so hopefully we can simplify that a little bit about what we do and how we use them. But the main thing that I want to focus on is that, supplements, whether they're homeopathic, herbal, nutritional, mineral, is they do not push physiology, unlike drugs. So drugs will push physiology, and that's why you get side effects, right? Because you are mandating a change in function. So with nutrition, what happens is we hopefully assist the body and to do what it normally would do, but maybe doesn't have the compounds or, the necessary nutrients to perform that function. And so what we do is we assist it by, supplementing with what's deficient, encouraging, just a rebalance, a rebuilding of that gland. So, a lot of people are like, well, can't I just eat better? And that will fix the problem. Unfortunately, we can't eat our way out of glandular dysfunction. It's really difficult. Could you? You probably could if you had zero stress, had zero toxin exposure, had, grass-fed, organic, and, unlimited whole foods at your disposal, which not a lot of us do. So what we do is really use, in most instances, really concentrated forms of whole food. Like I said, that help to rebuild the gland to optimize function. And we do that by filling nutritional deficiencies. Now, drugs are really hiding the symptoms of a nutritional deficiency, because ultimately the only way we were ever supposed to get nutrition is through food, right? And so the only way to correct the dysfunction glandulally is to feed the body. And so that's really what we focus on. As I said, we try to use whole foods. as much as possible. Do we use some synthetics? Yes, absolutely. In some cases, that is needed. But we work, a couple things. We work specifically on what the client needs. So based on our testing, we use hair tissue mineral analysis. So we'll look at minerals. We really try to address the root problem. Instead of just using supplements for Band-Aids. Now, there's a lot of people out there that will use supplements just like drugs. So they're trying to symptom treat, but with supplements. Now, will we do that to make you more comfortable? Absolutely. But in the long run, really what we try to do is address what the thorn is in the system. So what's the stressor, right? Can we remove the stressor using supplements, which we try to do? Can we support the autoimmune process? So there is something specific to standard process called protomorphogens. I don't know if I've spoken about these on the podcast before,
No.
but okay. So basically protomorphogens help to, decoy any antibodies that might be happening because of glandular dysfunction. So for instance, say, you had a brain injury, and now, of course, when you have all this necrotic tissue floating around, the body's trying to clean it up. And so it will produce autoantibodies to kind of clean that up and make sure that your liver doesn't become a brain and vice versa. And so unfortunately, though, those autoantibodies will attack the normal tissue. And so what we try to do with these protomorphogens is literally decoy those autoantibodies away from the gland. And this gives the gland a window to heal, which is super important. Because, if you look, there's, and this was a long time ago. I don't know if anybody listened to it, but Dr. Mark Hyman did a brain series basically. And there was one doctor talking about concussions, and he basically talked about autoantibodies and how no one addresses these autoantibodies in concussion. And so in order for the brain to heal, he said it's really important that we, sort of get rid of these autoantibodies. So that would be the first thing, is to really give that gland a window to heal. The second thing is to feed the gland, right? Replace whatever is missing or deficient nutrients. So in that, we really try to work on cell membrane repair, which is key. You have what's called a phospholipid bilayer. So two fatty layers that allows stuff to get into the cell, good stuff to get in, and bad stuff to get out. And a lot of times, that cell membrane, because of, trans fats or, hydrogenated oils, and some of the toxins, that cell membrane needs repair. So we'll work on that. But really specific nutrients and minerals that support function. So for instance, to produce hydrochloric acid in the stomach, we need whole food B vitamins, excuse me, and zinc. So in order to boost hydrochloric acid, you need these two. So instead of giving hydrochloric acid, which we do, but we also concentrate on making sure the body has the necessary nutrients to produce its own HCl. Same thing with thyroid hormone conversion. So you need magnesium, you need selenium, you need many others. So what we'll do is we'll really support those nutrients to make sure that the thyroid hormone conversion is happening. So really targeted missing and deficient nutrients for specific function based on what we see. And then drainage. So a lot of times the body will, once you give it the right things, will naturally start to detox. And in order to get rid of these toxins or just the normal metabolic waste that we produce every day by breathing, by digesting, we need what's called drainage. And that is help the glands that get rid of this metabolic waste. So things like our lymph system, our liver, our kidney, our lungs, our skin, those are all need drainage assistance. So we work on that. And then herbs here and there to help tonify the gland, to help support adaptogenic purposes. So that means help you basically just adapt to the stress that's happening all around you. And then another big word is we help the gland basically with trophorestorative processes. And that just means to actually restore function of the gland. So herbs assist in this. Now, that's not our targeted or first go-to because it is nutritive. Some herbs can be nutritive, but they're not go-to. And then lastly, homeopathic. So homeopathics really assist in, we use a lot for drainage or just tonifying the organ. We use homeopathics pretty simply. There are, classic homeopathists that will use them for, just constitution. But we don't really do that. So we really try to make it very specific to the client based on their lab work, based on our muscle testing, seeing what the body needs specifically, and then of course complement that with diet and nutrition. And we do have a sort of a roadmap that we use. So we really try to do general, just foundational stuff first. So just a general nutrition and things to work on drainage and digestion, and minerals. Those are first and foremost: drainage, minerals, digestion, balancing blood sugar through diet and lifestyle. And then we'll try to address all the other issues that we might come up with, things like parasites or metals or infections, things like that. And, what I would say is, there is a difference with supplements. So, because they're not regulated here in the US, there's so many on the market, and I would be very careful. And this is just a good kind of rule of thumb. If you look on the label and it says vitamin A as, say, alpha tocopherol, not alpha tocopherol, that would be vitamin E. If it says vitamin A as beta carotene, or vitamin E as alpha tocopherol, or vitamin C as ascorbic acid, that's usually a synthetic. What you want to see is a proprietary blend of foods. And that's where the majority of the nutrients will come from. Now, again, if you're seeing very high numbers of, say, alpha tocopherol or ascorbic acid, say over 100 milligrams of ascorbic acid, which most on the market are, that's usually a synthetic. And they just don't work the same way. It's like a mirror image. It's like putting a right glove on a left hand. That's a synthetic versus a whole food. It just body doesn't use it the same way. And so we have to be really, really careful about that. Obviously, we spend a lot of time. Kari, you want to talk a little bit just about how really foundationally that we address, lifestyle before even trying to use supplements, and how important that is. Because even though we're talking about supplements in this podcast, I think it's important to address that.
Yeah, definitely. I think in the whole grand scheme of things, it's like we can't ask the body to do anything more when it doesn't have the energy to do it, or it doesn't have the building blocks to do it, which is what Jenn's been talking about with the minerals and the way that we support the glands and all of that. That's how you help the body to do what it's already trying to do, because so many, the people that are coming to us, they're just tired and their body's like, dude, I can't do anymore right now. And so even if we do know that there are underlying issues like infections or things like that, or even hormone imbalance, there's so many things that might need to be addressed, but you just can't ask the body to do any more until we kind of focus on more of these foundational things so that the body does have the building blocks it needs and it does have more energy for day-to-day activities, but also, of course, to do what we're asking it to do, whether that be detox or digestion help or things like that. And so, yes, I think that it's just important to know that, supplements are very misused, I think, in the holistic space now. It's become a way for people to make money. It's become an easy out. There are pre-built protocols that people use. There's just all kind of different things. I feel like that it's kind of happened. I've seen happen in the last, I don't know, 5 to 8 years as, more and more people have entered the holistic space, which I think is great. But it's also like, I think people are getting frustrated because maybe they're not seeing the results that they want to, and they're spending a lot of money, right? And so I really wanted to, talk about these things, for us to discuss these things and help you to understand the way that we approach using supplements in our practice, because I think it's important. I think that, like Jenn said, you can't out supplement lifestyle things that aren't in place and diet. While yes, as she mentioned, you really do need supplements in most cases because your diet alone can't do it. You can't just use supplements either, right? So it's just really a balanced approach that you have to have, I think. And supplements are part of that, but they're not the only thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, For sure. For sure. No, I mean, and where we can use food, we do. I know a big one.
Yeah.
I think both of us is selenium. I rarely use a selenium supplement. I will 98% of the time recommend raw Brazil nuts because they're very high in selenium. They're very high in methionine. And if there's no nut allergy or nut sensitivity, it's a really easy way to get it in. Zinc, I rarely supplement with zinc unless there's, extreme deficiencies, because a lot of times just giving the Relight, the sodium, balancing the sodium potassium chloride will cause the zinc to come into line, or, using things like pumpkin seeds. So there are definitely ways that we use foods to supplement. But in the beginning, when you're in a state of severe deficiency, and you're behind, and it could be, if you've heard the term epigenetics, you could be behind 3 generations. Your grandmother didn't like broccoli, and so your mom didn't eat broccoli, and then you didn't eat broccoli growing up because your mom just never ate it, right? And so, you weren't exposed to those, those nutrients that could be specific for detox. So a lot of times, and even kids, I'm finding kids who are adrenally deficient, they don't have the nutrients to really get that HPA axis, that hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis working. And that's inherited.
Yeah.
So it's important that you eat well in the beginning and really, take your supplements as provided, because in order to rebuild the body, to even be able to have the energy to, as Kari said, to detox, to perform some of the functions, we have to repair that cell. And that definitely takes supplementation.
Yeah. So hopefully this helps you to see a little bit more about how we approach supplementation, why it's important, and how we use it in practice. To really nail down what specific supplements clients need, we do use muscle testing alongside of the other things that we mentioned that we have talked about, like blood work, hair tests, and of course, signs and symptoms and lifestyle things. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the next episode. So stick around for that. It'll be out next week. Let us know if you have questions. Really, we would love to help. We actually do have something called a lifestyle review that is just a way that if you really feel like, okay, you want somebody to just look and see, maybe you're taking a lot of supplements and you know that you don't want to continue taking them, or they're not working or whatever. We've kind of just added this in as a way that we can kind of look over everything that you're doing lifestyle wise and taking, and just give you some quick edits that would really help get you going in the right direction. So we'll include that specific link in the podcast show notes. And if you have any questions though for us, we'd love to have a conversation with you about just how we could help. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you on the next episode.
If this episode has served you in any way, drop a review wherever you listen to podcasts. We'd love it if you'd share any aha moments or takeaways on Instagram and tag us at Cornerstone Integrative Healing.
And if you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do so. We want to continue to walk this journey with you. Until next time, friends, know that we're praying for you.